rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. Sorry. The chat over on Rumble. So for those of you that aren't on Rumble yet, there's a reason why you need to go head over to Rumble. And the reason being is because Rumble allows me to actually open up the channel early. And so what ends up happening is, as things go on, the Rumblers, Whiskey Warrior P1s, etc., they tend to kind of trickle in. And the conversations prior to me coming online, and even once I'm in my whole shtick and spiel, are very interesting. You guys got to check it out. Head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account, and then, of course, follow American Perspective, the channel. Hit the follow button. Green follow button. Anyway. Hello, we are in the almost final home stretch. We've got about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks to go until this is hopefully going to put the nail in the coffin of the left maniac, moron, Marxist Kamala Harris and her buddy Tampon Tim, lying, stolen valor, walls, along with a bunch of other things. But anyway, we're in the final stretches, and Donald Trump has obviously upped his game in terms of trolling. He also, you can tell, is in a good mood. So his internal polling must be really, really good. Because he decided to take some time out of his campaigning, and, well, actually, this still is a campaign kind of deal, but it made the left go nuts. He worked at a McDonald's for a little while. Oh my gosh, yeah, you should have seen it. The left went crazy, but I'll get into that in just a minute. First, I am going to tell you right now that I will never have to worry about the internet going out and my being able to look up words that are defined slightly differently back in 1828, because I received this today. This is the American Dictionary of the English Language, the Noah Webster 1828 version. And the reason why you're seeing the pumpkins kind of bleed through a little bit is because the cover is green. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. Thing is huge. I mean, it's huge, and it weighs a ton. Well, it weighs a lot. Let's put it that way. But yep, I went ahead and even though I can search stuff online, I don't trust that online is going to stay that way for very long, that somebody will get a hold of it and do something with it. And yeah, anyway. So there it is. I'm happy to have that in my possession. Now it doesn't necessarily complete anything, but it gives me an opportunity to be able to make sure that when I look something up and reference it, that it's there. It is a modern book. Mark kind of points out it looks like a modern book. It is a modern book, but it's a reprint of the original Noah Webster 1828 dictionary. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off with the Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Ms. T of Texas. Our very own Ms. T of Texas. So please, if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hats if you're wearing one. And if not, even, place your hand over your heart and join with us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And, of course, I thank you, Ms. D, for that wonderful rendition of the Pledge of Allegiance. Do me a favor, if you would like to hear your version of the Pledge of Allegiance played here on the program, it's really fairly simple. All you need to do is record yourself reciting the pledge and then take that audio file and send it off to me. You attach it to an email and send it to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. All right, let me tell you about tonight's sponsor. Tonight's sponsor is TGRN, True Grit Roots Network. You can find us on the web at tgrn.net. We have TGRN Blues, our 24/7, 365 blues station, blues channel. Tonight is the live broadcast of Music on the Couch. Music on the Couch is a live, uncut, and unscripted conversations with musicians you should know. The show began in February of 2010 with the express goal of giving musicians a voice of their own. Interviews not colored by journalists' interpretations. As of September 2023, there were over 660 shows. There's a lot more now. And over 2,500 interviews. All the interviews can also be found at musiconthecouch.com. As we transition to our new home, not all files are accessible, but if you have a specific interview you would like to hear, send an email to showbookings@musiconthecouch.com, and Vinnie Marini can send you the file. Music on the Couch airs Mondays, 8 p.m. Central Time, so it will be kicking off about the time that I am done. So you can go and check that out. Music on the Couch, you can find us at tgrn.net. You can listen right through your browser, or if you want, you can download our app, both available both on Android and iOS. Also, too, if you already have the Live 365, the Odyssey, AUDACY, or if you have the iHeartRadio app, you can find us in their catalog of digital radio stations. Once again, that's TGRN, True Grit Roots Network, with TGRN Blues, based out of Austin, Texas. All right. So, what happened? Well, let's just say that Donald Trump is a master at trolling, and he's especially a master at trolling the left. You know, for all of the claims that he's like exhausted, that he's having problems on the trail, that he's been canceling a whole bunch of things, you know, all of that stuff is a bunch of bunk. I'm just going to say that right now. And realistically, I don't know where they got the idea to do this, but man, talk about a setup. This is classic. So Donald Trump goes and records himself and actually services some customers at a drive-thru at a McDonald's. And why did he choose McDonald's? Well, it's because Kamala Harris claims that she worked at a McDonald's. Now, of course, there is zero proof, honestly, either way. But they went ahead and zero proof either way for her, but he's going to go ahead and call her out on it anyway. And at one point, he even points out the fact that he actually has worked longer at a McDonald's than Kamala Harris has. He also went ahead and worked fries because she says that she was working fries at McDonald's as well. So he just kind of he went ahead and just kind of trolls him. Well, he apparently triggered Tim Walz tampons because, yeah, Tim Walz fired off just this psychotic post. Oh my gosh. He got triggered. Tim got triggered. Let's just put it that way. A much better trigger and reaction than his working with the shotgun, not being able to load it, by the way. But he issued a response on X where he's like, this guy spent decades stiffing workers' pay, cut overtime benefits for millions of people, and opposed any effort to raise the minimum wage. You know who has actually worked at McDonald's, joined workers on picket lines and fights for the working people? Kamala Harris. Yeah, okay. Anyway, he just, oh my God, he just triggered Kamala Harris. So here's a couple of videos of Donald Trump doing this. So let's take a listen here. Oh, wait. I didn't have this set up. Here we go.
I mean, if you're on his campaign, and I know you are certainly not, I'm not making any implication of that. But
by the way.
What is the logic behind this, going to a McDonald's? I mean, we know the guy likes Big Macs and filet of fish, and he's used the word love to describe the way he feels about the food there before. But what's this about?
There's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He has not put forth an economic agenda. He, as you know, appears to be not well. And he's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign. So this is just another one of those stunts that he will continue on through the campaign. And I think that we need to really focus on making sure that he is not elected, of course, because...
Okay, let's just face it. Yes, it is a stunt. You stupid morons. Of course it's a stunt. Everything is going to be a stunt. Oh, and what's even better, though, by the way, is that he did it in Pennsylvania. He did it in a Pennsylvania McDonald's. Anyway, excuse me. So, yeah, so Trump War Room, which is an X account also, they posted that President Trump becomes the first and only 2024 presidential nominee to work at McDonald's. Oh, let's take a listen to this one.
You want to give it a try? I do.
This is Trump getting Fry
go right into here on the left. Yep, slowly,
instruction.
Slowly, gently lowered into the oil. Don't want to burn yourself. Up, down. There you go. And then we're going to hit our fry timer right here. That one's going good. Now we can drop another one too. So we'll grab one more basket, 2 hands. Yep. We're going to put it right here. We'll lower it slowly into the oil. Don't want to burn. Then we're just going to hit our fry timer right here.
Right there.
Yep. Now we're waiting for that duty timer. So now when that duty timer comes up, again, hit the timer, and take it out the oil slowly, give it a little shake so that we don't get stuck together, and then lower it back into the oil. So we'll probably, this one will probably go off before anybody else. Oh, there we go. That'd be good, guys. So now lift it out of the oil. 2 hands. Sir, can you slide on that? Shake, and slowly back into the oil. That's good. And we got another one going off. So duty timer right here with that button. Good. And then out the oil. Shake. Back into the oil.
Anyway.
And then our last one is going to go off. We'll give that a few seconds.
I want to see if...
I'm going to need a few more fries.
You got this big sidewalk. Got about 10,000 people out there. That's a big crowd, huh?
Okay. I was kind of hoping that he was going to talk a little bit more. Donald Trump was going to talk a little bit more on that clip, but anyway, he went and like learned about how to do the fries. Now, I'm going to tell you, I didn't work at McDonald's. Okay. But I did work at Dairy Queen. One full summer when I was in high school, and then a part of a summer before I went and changed jobs and went to work at the local grocery store. And in fact, the funny little story, that held up my clearance when I went in the military because I had forgotten to let them know that that's what I did. So anyway, so no lie, that's no lie. I'm telling you. Anyway, so Trump goes and he serves some people at the drive-thru. And of course, obviously a lot of people come through. I don't know whether or not this was actually an open McDonald's or if this again was just sort of a stunt. I'm sure the Secret Service, because again, keep in mind, the Secret Service has to go and check everything out whenever you're dealing with somebody of Trump's stature. I mean, he's already been, shot at once, actually shot once, was attempted to be shot at another time. And both of those within a very close range of one another. And he's got a price on his head from one of our foreign adversaries in Iran. So, yeah, I'm sure that all of this was staged, but seriously, I mean, come on, people. This is just classic Trump being Trump. And he's doing what he is doing to get a rise out of the left, and it worked. It worked. That's because that's the way that he does things. Now, some people came up to the drive-thru. One couple had come up, and said that he and his wife were praying for Donald Trump, that he didn't want America to become his home in, I think it was Brazil. So, there's like a lot of people. It was just classic. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it was just classic. And here he is. Here's Donald. Let me go ahead and flip over. Here's Donald working at the drive-thru a little bit more.
I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job. I like this job. I think I might come back and do it again. Thank you. Look at that. Look at that. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you.
You made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet you.
You're not ordinary.
I mean, thank you so much
You
for
are not
everything you
ordinary.
are
I
doing.
can see.
We pray for you, and you are the type of person we want to be the president.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, I took a bullet. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When you think about it, I guess that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So as you can see, he is a president of the people. Now, could you imagine Kamala Harris doing this? No. I mean, even if she worked there, she wouldn't do this. I'm serious. She wouldn't do this. She believes, like most Democrat elites do, she believes that she is so far above the little people that she wouldn't even bother with this kind of thing. And here, just because, I don't want to be called a liar, but here was the little clip about not becoming Brazil.
A lot of fun here, everybody.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Look at all the pictures of it. Hello, everybody.
You can take this,
And
right?
this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank you. Mr. President,
Yes.
please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep it
Please,
good.
Please, please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, Mr.
Compliments
President.
of Trump.
Yes.
Have a good time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you over there.
Oh my God.
Have a good time.
Thank
Nice
you.
to
You
see you.
too, Mr.
Bye,
President.
darling.
See you.
Have a good time. Thank you, honey.
All right. So he obviously purchased some of the food. As he pointed out, this is compliments of President Trump. So yeah, it's just, yeah. This guy knows how to troll. Let's just put it that way. He knows how to handle, and he also knows how to talk to the people. And, a lot of people, they look at him, and I've been told this on a few occasions. Now, again, I have my own reservations, my own issues with Donald Trump, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he isn't a nice guy. And he, there are several people who have had interactions with him in public that are like this. And, he's a personable human being when he gets there. In fact, when he went to go And which, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet, you really ought to go over to Dan Bongino's Rumble channel, the Dan Bongino Show, and check out the interview that he did with Donald Trump last Friday. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting is that Kamala Harris has been saying that, you know, Donald Trump is tired, he's exhausted, he's, you know, trying to hit him like sort of reminiscent of like what they did with Ronald Reagan with his age. And, you know, Ronald Reagan came out in the debate. This was right before the debate with Walter Mondale. And, you know, Ronald Reagan came out and like smacked the crap out of Walter Mondale and ended up winning in 1984, in the 1984 election by, you know, sweeping the entire map with him. So anyway, Donald Trump is just doing what Donald Trump does. And that's the best way for him to honestly, to campaign, especially now in the last couple of weeks for this. And anyway, as I was saying, you know, they keep talking about him being tired, exhausted, so on and so forth, but he doesn't look that way. He didn't look that way on the Dan Bongino Show. And in fact, Kamala Harris actually called out the Dan Bongino Show, saying that Donald Trump cut his, you know, interview short because he was so tired, which is bullcrap. It was bullcrap because this guy is very busy. And he has places to go, people to see, things to do. And so he's only allotted a certain amount of time with individuals because you can't stand and like accept and try and like stay over, because that makes it so that the next person gets jilted over what's going on. So, you know, he's got a very rigorous schedule. And so that being said, you know, there are times where he is gonna go a little bit overboard on some things, but realistically, he's got a time schedule to keep. And so if all he's doing is shaking hands and saying hello and stuff like that, he needs to move on. He needs to keep going and go to the next one. So he can't get to everybody. And like Bongino showed on his show today, Donald Trump spent a lot of time talking to the crew. See, and that's the thing. That's the difference between somebody like a Kamala Harris or, you know, a Hillary Clinton, for an example, and a Donald Trump. Because of the fact that Donald Trump is going to talk to all of the what would be deemed by the Democrat elite as the little people. You know, Donald Trump's going to talk to everybody. He walks into a room, he's going to talk to everybody, for the most part. And that seems to be just the way that he is, as far as that goes. Well, Donald Trump is going to speak and hold a rally in the middle of a Democrat stronghold. Yes, he's going to go to New York. He rented out Madison Square Garden, and, at least according to this Breitbart report, his Madison Square Garden rally sold out in less than 3 hours. Folks, this is not a man who is slowing down. This is not a man who has no energy. This is not a man who is looking exhausted. This is a man who is looking to put in the final 2 weeks until the election, and then he will continue working for the American people. That's who this person is. But anyway, he told Breitbart News in an exclusive interview on SiriusXM that his rally had sold out in mere hours, which is amazing by itself. And he said, quote, "We sold it out in less than 3 hours, but people are going to come anyway. We have big screens outside. It's going to be unbelievable. So come anyway. I mean, come. Maybe you get in. I don't know. But it sold out very quickly," Trump said. "It's fantastic. It's going to be fantastic." And yeah, Madison Square Garden, of course, is like a very big pinnacle for a lot of sports and entertainment and politics and so on and so forth. I mean, it was the location, according to the Breitbart piece, of the fight of the century between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier in 71, the historic Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals, the 1994 New York Rangers Stanley Cup victory. A lot of other people have played there. So Madison Square Garden is very, very important. And for him to do this in New York City, blue New York City, very blue New York City, is just again, it's another trolling piece. Well, the interesting thing about Kamala Harris and her claims of Donald Trump being, exhausted and tired and all of these things is that, well, she herself stepped out of her own rally early this weekend. So last week, Kamala Harris, this is in PJ Media, released her medical records, challenged Donald Trump to do the same. She's been ramping up her attacks on social media about his health, about him, his, quote, cognitive decline. And of course, all of the sycophantic leftist morons have been running around saying the same thing. Oh, this man is not well. He's not well. They're trying to do the same thing to Trump that they did not do with Joe Biden, in terms of like trying to attack him on his age. Well, the thing about it is she pointed out, I've been hearing reports that his team at least is saying he's suffering from exhaustion, and that's apparently the excuse why he's not doing interviews. He's been doing interviews, sweetheart. He's been doing about 2 to 3 times more than you have over the course of the campaign. But anyway, the X account implied, like I pointed out, that the interview with Dan Bongino was cut short due to exhaustion. Bongino, of course, corrected that. And then we also have, all of these things where she's been posting her accounts, maybe not her directly, but her accounts on like all of the socials have been talking about it. Well, apparently she went to Detroit and she was on stage in Detroit, which is supposed to be a stronghold for the demographic, the normal staunchly Democrat demographic, I should say, that she's supposedly bleeding, which is the black vote. And she went ahead and was only on stage for less than 7 minutes. I don't know how that makes it to where the sources of that at that rally said that she was supposed to speak for an hour. Now, the funny thing is that Donald Trump was on stage in Detroit for an hour and 27 minutes as well. Like many more times. Just I can't even, my math head isn't out right now. I can't even think of how many times that is, but yeah. So, what's going on? Well, I haven't been able to find any reason as to why she left, after less than 7 minutes on stage. So, yeah, don't know why. But it is kind of a bad look, for it. So, anyway, it's just, and then she is talking about this whole thing with her, being, with Trump being exhausted and fatigued and so on and so forth. And then she goes and does this. Well, her campaign apparently is now being scaled back. Wait, what? She's not going to be out on the trail for, thanks, thanks, Nana of JJS. She went ahead 12.4 times more. So Trump spent 12.4 times more time on stage in Detroit than what Kamala Harris did. So anyway, there you go. Over 12 times more. Yeah, there we go. I could say that. All right. Well, Kamala Harris has apparently scaled back on her campaign trail presence this week, according to Breitbart, and according to her own campaign. She's reduced her time so she can prepare for a couple of interviews. Wait, what? She's getting off the campaign trail in order to prepare for 2 interviews. And here's the thing. Those 2 interviews are on friendly freaking outlets. NBC and CNN, according to Breitbart. So she's supposed to go on Tuesday. She's supposed to sit with NBC's Hallie Jackson, who, here we go again, another reporter that is biased against former President Donald Trump. But Harris will also attend a CNN's town hall on Wednesday. And so both days, she won't be on the campaign trail. She's doing some stops. She's done some stops today. She's going to be back in DC for that interview and supposedly to obtain briefings and, that kind of thing. And then Wednesday, she's going to prepare for the CNN interview and then go back on the trail on Thursday and Friday with some other visits. Well, this is a little odd. I mean, especially considering, again, that she cut her Detroit visit so short. She wasn't even up there for like 30 minutes. She was only up there for less than 7. But anyway, so things in her camp just don't seem to be making sense. And of course, she's got all of her surrogates out there, like Barack Obama and several others who are out there who are trying to convince black voters, especially black males, to vote just because of the fact that she is a black female, a black woman, which we all know she isn't. I've proven that to you. I've shown that to you on this program. But it's they're out there. She also has Liz Cheney running around, by the way. She has Liz Cheney running around, and a lot of people think that Liz Cheney is going to be able to grab a certain amount of voters, let's say. But let's be honest, the Liz Cheney voters are, they're like really, really freaking, even if there is a voting block for Liz Cheney, they're not going to be a whole huge pack of it. But anyway, yeah. It doesn't seem to make sense. And in fact, it doesn't seem to make sense to even a senior advisor to Trump. His name's Jason Miller. He's posted on X, never seen this in the closing days of a presidential race with under 2 weeks to go. And at Ian Sams, who Ian Sams, I think is Kamala Harris's campaign manager, is so rattled that he's taking Kamala Harris off the campaign trail for 2 full days next week to prep for 2 interviews. A Anderson Cooper Town Hall, which is a CNN thing, and then, of course, the Hallie Jackson interview. So who's the one that's seems to be, shall we say, tired, exhausted, needs time to prepare and rest? I mean, it's interesting. So, anyway, we'll just have to kind of see what's going on here. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what goes on in the near future. But, anyway, well, one thing that you can be sure of is the left is definitely starting to become more and more unhinged. And the more that they become unhinged, the more their rhetoric turns to the reality of the situation, which is, especially when you're dealing with certain segments of society who seem to believe that white people are the enemy. Here is a conversation that happened on CNN. No surprise. According to the Daily Fetched, and I've actually got some video and audio for you here, a CNN panelist says white people who don't vote Kamala must face accountability. Really? What kind of accountability, sweetheart? Because, this CNN commentator declared that white people won't be able to escape the accountability that we might have to face. Really? Her name is Angela Rye, and she made the remarks while attempting to shift blame for Harris's abysmal polling numbers, away from black men. Anyway, here, just take a listen to this.
Former President Obama was back out last night. This is the first time since he was in Pittsburgh, and invoked the potential of sexism in his appeal to black men to support the vice president. Angela, should there be a course correction because there was so much backlash to that framework? Was it a mistake for the former president to say what he did or to say it publicly? What was your assessment of what we heard from former President Obama?
You know, I think that it's wonderful that President Obama is out hitting the trail for democracy, frankly. And what I think is a mistake is to let white folks escape the accountability that they must face for not showing up to save democracy themselves. Like, they want to get mad at presidential candidates, right, when they don't wear a flag lapel pin or they don't see you pledging allegiance to the flag. That's what they want to get upset about. Now, the face of patriotism to them looks like trying to tear down the Capitol in a terrorist attack on January 6, 2021. So the responsibility of saving democracy should be on the largest demographic in this country. That is white men and white women. I don't want to see a women's march with pussy hats come January if something doesn't go right. What I want to see is for them to march themselves to the polls, including today. We are in Detroit, Michigan, for an early vote rally. In Michigan, early voting starts next Saturday, which is my birthday, Victor.
Happy birthday.
But today in Detroit, it starts today. There's a big event at Pistons Land. We will be adjacent to that event, talking to folks, Detroit voters, about what they want to hear, about the agendas that matter to them, about the economy, about health care, about ensuring that democracy is preserved, even if it's not perfect. We're doing our part. It's time for white folks to turn their ire and their attention to each other to ensure they also do their part.
Yeah. Sweetheart, first of all, and yeah, I am going to say sweetheart. First of all, we're not a democracy. We're a republic. That's the first thing. And in order to save the republic, we have to save the Constitution and our rights, such as the right to free speech, which is consistently attacked by the left, and not only by your two big, huge candidates, big, huge lying candidates like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who both of them want to take away the right to free speech. Tim Walz said clearly, and he's under the assumption that hate speech isn't free speech. It is. That it should be illegal. No, it is. You may not like it, but that's the whole purpose of free speech, Timmy. Anyway, so she wants to try and blame white folks. Now, I ask you this, because I was talking to somebody earlier today. I won't say who it is, but I was talking to somebody earlier today. And one of the things that's kind of interesting about the dichotomy between the conservative Republicans and the leftist moron Democrats, and yes, I am using the term moron because that's what they are, is they are morons. But the biggest dichotomy between the two is how you interact with them. If a Democrat were to come up to me as a conservative and say, I'm voting for Kamala Harris, I would probably say something like this. Well, thank you for telling me your intelligence level. I do appreciate that. But other than that, okay, you do you. Whereas if you're sitting there as a conservative and say, I'm voting for Donald Trump, the first things out of their mouth is they're going to call you names like being a racist. They're going to flip you off. They could potentially do something physical against you. But anyway, the point being here is honestly is that the left are the ones that are the racists. The left are the ones that are the angry, violent ones. The left is the one that is trying to tear down our democracy by not shoring up our laws and not allowing us to ensure free and fair elections by requiring voter ID and taking away mail-in balloting and trying to shore up the fraud, trying to shore up prevention of fraud and things of that nature. See, they don't seem to understand that all of those things are what conservatives are looking to do. So, anyway, also too, the left or some people on X on the social medias kind of went off on this Angela Rye. One of them, 1X1Y is the account name. I wonder what they are. 1X1Y said, Angela Rye forgot democracy is about voting who you believe in, not being guilt-tripped into voting for Kamala. Another person said, Kamala's supporters are the most racist people in America. They are merely echoing what they are guilty of. That was Juanita Broderick. And then this one, Miss USA 1776 says, white people responsible for white people votes and black people votes laugh out loud. She is a clown, and CNN should be embarrassed for having her on. Yep, I agree. So again, I look at it as, hey, if you're sitting here trying to tell people to vote for somebody just because of their immutable characteristics, whether it's sex or skin color or hair color or eye color, none of that matters. Can they do the job? If they cannot do the job, they have no business being in the office. Kamala Harris cannot do the job. She is unfit for the office. Neither can Tim Walz. He mismanaged money in his own state of Minnesota. As governor, he allowed Minneapolis to burn. And just for 3 days during during the BLM riots, and did nothing. He touts his own program for the kids, and that's under investigation. I mean, yeah, so there we go. But anyway, that's it. Yeah. Well, it's getting bad enough now, apparently. Do you remember back in 2016 when they were starting to get worried? They, meaning the Democrat leftist morons that were, like the women on The View, several of the Hollywood types that were all starting to talk about, I can't live through a Trump presidency. We need to, I'm going to leave the country. Well, yeah, you never did. I mean, first of all, they never left. They're still here. Believe me, things would have gone a lot different in 2020 had they left like they said they would. But guess what? I'm starting to hear those same kinds of things again here in hot air. Democrats are worried that Canada immigration controls might keep them trapped in Trump's U.S. Oh, here we go again, all over again. So apparently the liberals seem to like talk out their ass without actually researching stuff, which is nothing unusual. But they are assuming that they would be able to just go up to the northern border and just move into Canada without a problem, that they would open the border to Americans. That would be it, right? Well, Canada's immigration policy clearly states that non-citizens do not have an unqualified right to enter or remain in Canada. And believe me, trying to become Canadian, yeah, you think our immigration policies are tough? Try to go up there. Doing work in Canada, as I've personally experienced, is even difficult as well. So anyway, Politico apparently, according to the piece here, interviewed some Michigan leftists. I refuse to call them liberals because a liberal would actually understand America better. But anyway, Michigan leftists who truly seem to believe that Trump is about to implement the vision from The Handmaid's Tale, force women to reproduce, wear red robes, be raped nightly before being carted into camps for extermination. Yeah, sure he is. Anyway, these people apparently, they're just nuts. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're just nuts. They're just nuts. And let's not forget the fact, which Silence the Deplorable kind of points this out on X. Let's not forget the fact that it was Democrats, by the way, who wanted to get rid of people and put them in camps during COVID. This was in January of 2022. They wanted to fine the unvaccinated. They wanted to lock up the unvaccinated at home. This is like in, high numbers here. We're talking somewhere between 50 to 60% of people asked would, they wanted to send the unvaccinated to quarantine camps, which this was over, probably like 45%. The Democrats clearly over the Republicans wanted to take the children from unvaccinated parents. I mean, again, okay, we're just pointing this out. Yeah, I mean, this is why I call them morons. This is exactly why I call them morons. These people are just, they're just nuts. Now, the piece here in Hot Air basically states that they don't seem to understand that the groundswell for Trump is a cry from ordinary Americans basically saying, leave us alone. Leftists spend all their time trying to figure out how to suppress conservatives and truly can't imagine a world where the other side is perfectly willing to let leftists chop off their own genitals as long as they stay away from the children. Anxiety, and this is coming from, let's see, this is a quote from who? Where is this quoted from? Yeah, Politico. So this is from Politico. Anxiety and honest-to-God fear has replaced joy on the trail for fretful Democrats 18 days out. Harris didn't even say the word in her remarks. Instead, she described at least 3 times a fight. The election is here right now, Harris said. We have to energize, organize, mobilize, and remind our neighbors and our friends that their vote is their voice. And not long after she walked off stage, voters here were contemplating what they would do, not just in the days before they make it to the ballot box, but after, if their preferred outcome didn't materialize. Some were weighing voting with their feet. Oh God, she has to win. I don't want to live in a Trumpian hellscape, said Aaron Conklin, 62-year-old retired homemaker and artist. We might have to leave Canada if they'll take we might have to leave. And then she said, Canada, if they'll take us. Gabriella Jelink, a 32-year-old Grand Rapids marketer, stands for a portrait after listening to Harris deliver the remarks at Riversdale Park. And she says, truthfully, I have thought about moving out of this country. I have also thought about having to marry a friend in order to protect my assets as a single woman. What? 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 Why? She says, like a male friend, in order to make sure my life is protected, because I feel like we'll be going to times where we need male permission to do everything. Yeah, wait, no, people, come on. Look, folks, Republicans and conservatives, by the way, freed the slaves. Republicans and conservatives passed the Civil Rights Act. Republicans and conservatives were the ones that drove and passed women's right to vote, the women's suffrage scenario. What part of history have the Republicans ever been saying that they were going to go and like lock women up in chains and use them for? These people are crazy. They are totally off their rockers. They think that the Republicans, that Donald Trump, once he gets into office, which, by the way, we've already had 4 years of the man. It's not like he's probably going to do anything different. Okay? And as my news points out, these same people want to take kids away from their parents when their parents are against sex changes for their kids under 18. Anyway, to continue here, Mary Herrig, who is a 64-year-old retired registered nurse, she was wearing a Cat Ladies for Kamala t-shirt, had progressed even further in her talks with her husband, who didn't have long left as a postal service worker before he could retire. Herrig said, "We're close enough to Canada, and my husband has said too, we cannot take another 4 years of this. And if this does happen, we will go to Canada." Well, you're right. We can't take another 4 years of Kamala Harris. Oh, wait, they were talking about Donald Trump. Morons. Anyway, by the way, they also in the piece here they don't note that Canada is actually pretty much done with leftist rule as well. Nobody likes Justin Trudeau. They're calling out 2/3 of Canadians hate him with white hot passion of titanium being melted. Fidel Castro's son has a lower popularity rating than Joe Biden does. Yeah. I don't think that Canada is going to be the place for where they're going to go. Oh my gosh, these people. Oh, and I'm sure that, believe me, wait until after the election. Right now, it's just the anxiety is starting to like kick up. Now, don't forget too, folks, that, and I've shown you this on the program, that Democrats in particular and leftists for sure, they are the ones who answered in their own, on their own in surveys. Okay. That they were the ones that have been diagnosed with mental illnesses more than Republicans and conservatives. Yeah, the studies are out. These people are just crazy. They're nuts. They are totally crazy. Golly. And you wonder why I call them morons. Holy crap. Anyway, speaking of election night, really quickly, first of all, Dan Bongino, I know he's very popular. He's got 3 million subscribers on Rumble. He will be transmitting election night. I will probably transmit election night too. And I was thinking of asking the question, but I think I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm going to transmit election night as well, and I'll probably go for a lot longer than I normally do. But yeah, so I will also be transmitting election night too. But anyway, we may not know the answer. It's entirely possible we're not going to know who's going to win because of the fact that Pennsylvania's already pointed out that they may not know. They may not know the answer, or they may not know their results. They've already said it. And now Jocelyn Benson predicts there's going to be no results out of Michigan on election day. Here in the Midwestern Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson doesn't expect to have 2024 election results in Michigan until a full day after the polls close. And a lot of people are asking why, which makes sense. CBS News has Face the Nation posed the question, how quickly do you expect to get results? And Benson replied with, well, you know, in 2020, we had the results of our highest turnout election in Michigan history within 24 hours of the polls closing. The unofficial results were completed by 8 p.m. on Wednesday. So we're tracking that again this year. So, yeah. They're already setting up with, we're not going to know until probably Thursday or whatever. Oh my gosh. These people. Oh, these people. All right, really quickly, last couple of things, and this is just sad. I mean, we already know that this administration hates Israel. We already know that this country, you know, doesn't approve of Israel's attack on Hamas, even though they were fully justified, and the continued war over there. Well, apparently U.S. Intel docs, that's documents, showing Israel preparations for an airstrike in Iran were actually leaked online. And several U.S. organizations are looking into this. And by organizations, I'm talking like the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ. You know, they're all trying to do it. And they have been confirmed as being authentic. So anyway, a Telegram user, Middle East Spectator, is the one who leaked it. Now, Middle East Spectator says that they are not affiliated with the actual original author or the original leaker. But yeah, it seems to be that this freaking administration, God, is just such a shit show. Anyway, could it possibly be that Kamala Harris might have something to do with it, because Kamala Harris warned Israel not to enter the area where Yahya Sinwar was killed? I don't know. It's possible. All right. Anyway, we'll have to see how things progress, but I'm telling you, this woman does not have any semblance of reason or you know, why she should be in the White House. She is totally, completely stupid and is a moron. All right, guys. Here we go. Landon, how you doing, boy? All right. So for those of you that don't know, Landon is one of my P1 listeners' dogs, and he likes watching the show. So there we go. All right, folks. Yep, there we go. Sorry. Anyway, so there we go for tonight's show. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. Once you are there, make sure that you sign up to follow, I should say. Once you sign up for your account, make sure you're signed in. Go ahead on over and look up the American Perspective broadcast or the channel. And once there, hit that green follow button to make sure that you apparently Landon loved that. So there we go. You know, make sure that you get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up button, those likes buttons, all of that other stuff, you know, for this video to get higher up in the ratings and that kind of stuff, because all the channels love that. They use that as a metric. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
The previous broadcast was produced and is owned by Active Eye Media LLC. All rights reserved.